We are doing today's topic is about introduction to chemistry. And in this series or in this video, we'll be looking at what chemistry entails, what is inside, and then try to discuss some of the components of chemistry. As we do always, the topic is going to move in a process that each concept is going to be explained in detail because understanding the basis is very important to understanding the chemistry as a whole. For that matter, we'll be spending more time doing the introduction series, and this one is the introduction series one. Let's get into it. Let's get to the our whiteboard. And what is chemistry? We need to understand the topic or the subjects that we are studying. What is chemistry? So let's analyze. This is the definition. Chemistry. Chemistry is the scientific study of matter, its composition, and structure, as well as the changes it undergoes. In this key definition of chemistry, there are some terms. Scientific study. What are we studying? Matter. Why scientific study? Scientific study because we need to be very careful with the kind of study we are doing. There are different studies that you can be physical study, spiritual study, but in this term we are talking about scientific because this study is not going to be done in any manner, but it's going to follow the scientific format. Scientific format means that we are going to follow the scientific methods, and the scientific methods include one, observation or identification of problem. Two, we make hypothesis. Then after making hypothesis, experimentation. There's going to be experimentation. Then for analysis of data or results, analysis of results. And then after analyzing the results, we get to conclusion. Sometimes this process may repeat if the result is analyzed as is not giving us anything that we can conclude on. We go back um, repeating the process. But the most important thing is that the study that we are going to do is going to follow these steps, and these steps are called the scientific methods. So these are the general steps that scientists follow in order to arrive at the solution for a particular problem. So chemistry is the scientific study. So in the word chemistry, you have chem. So someone will be thinking of chemicals. And then what does it entail? It's a study, right? But don't just say it's a study of, it's a scientific study because the procedure adopted in this particular study is a scientific procedure. So yeah, and then we are generally studying what matter. Yeah, that is what chemistry is studying about. So the matter, what is inside the matter. So if you like, assume you have a wood. So I'll just draw. Let's say this. Assume this is a wood. So this is a wood. Chemistry is interested in. So a wood is a matter, an example of a matter. So this is our wood. So wood, it can be metal or whatever. So chemistry is interested in, okay, wood, this is wood as a matter. What what is inside the matter? What makes up this matter or this wood? What is inside? And if you change it from solid, liquid, and gas, what happens to the matter? What behavior do the molecules or the components of this wood exhibit in various states in chemical reactions and stuff? Yes, that's what chemistry is. So chemistry is study of matter. We study the matter itself, what is inside, the structure that it has adopted, and then changes and other reactions that it undergoes. That is the study of chemistry. Chemistry is very much interested in that. So one thing we're saying is matter. So matter, what is matter itself? Matter is, we know, is anything that has mass and occupies space, right? Anything that has mass, that has mass and volume. Volume is occupying the space. That the space talking about. So anything that has, so example is the wood. So yeah, the wood is an example of matter. You can name them: pen, bench, car, chalk, duster. So anything that has mass and occupies space. Yes. So yeah, that's basically matter. I know we know that, and we can cite a lot of examples of what matter is. So those are examples of matter that I've studied. So you know chemistry is the study of this matter, the composition and structure. So the focus now is on matter, right? So the next thing to discuss is, okay, if we know the composition of matter now and we know examples of matter, then we need to also talk about the basic unit of matter. Basic units of matter. Some people can call it the building block. Building block of matter. So building block of matter. See, why building block or why basic unit? So matter have in different form, and we say that we are interested in the components of this matter, right? So we took the example of wood, for example. When we take the example of wood, the example, we want to know the composition. What is making this entire wood become strong, stiff, and then straight? It doesn't move. What is making up this wood? So at the molecular level, at a very microscopic level, meaning at a very small, like when we zoom into the wood, we'll be looking at some things that come together to form the wood as a whole that we are having. So those things form the building block. Those things form the foundation that comes together to form the matter. So there are three main ones. Three main. So three building blocks of matter. There are three. One, you can see this building block as molecules. So they can be molecules. Two, they can be ions. Three, they can be atoms. Atoms. So when you take a particular matter and you want to find the building block, meaning you go to the microscope, you can either find atoms inside, or you can find the building blocks to be ions inside, or you can find the building blocks to be molecules inside. So we define these terms when I'm moving forward, and to understand molecules themselves, what ions are themselves, and then what atoms are. But then the best way to understand is getting to know, we are going to start with atoms, because if you get to understand atoms, the definition, because the other one, which are ions and then molecules, are just the various modifications of atoms that we have. So we need to first understand what atoms are. We need to first understand what atoms are. That's what that's what chemistry entails. So we said chemistry is the scientific study of matter and the changes it undergoes. And so a study of matter composition, structure, and the changes that undergoes. Right. So we get to understand that matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. And so focusing on that matter, we see that matter coming as a whole. For example, a duster. We see that this particular duster is that it doesn't just come like that. Meaning that if you want to look into it to see what comes or what are the things that come together at the molecular level, at the very smallest level within that atom, within that dust star, there are some things that come together to form the dust star that we are seeing. So if we zoom in and look into it microscopically, we realize that there are some species or there are some smallest components. These things are called the building block of matter or the basic unit of matter. They are units. So they are the one that come together to build or form the block of the dust star that we have. So now, because there are different things, objects in the world, there are different matter in the world. So some of them, upon research and analysis, these building blocks are of three different types. They can come in terms of molecules. You can see, you can if you zoom in, you can see some of them as ions, and then the third one you can see them as just atoms. Now we are going to take the approach focusing on atoms because the ions and molecules that we are talking about, these are the other forms of building block, all are based on atoms. So the various modification of atoms is what's led to know what an ion is or what a molecule is. So to form a molecule, to form an ion, all of them contain atoms. So it's very important to understand what atom is. And then we need in our next video we'll get to the difference between so people usually confuse element with atom. So with atom, yeah, I know in high JHS, junior high school, we have chilled definition of elements and atom, but then we are next in our next video we are going to actually focus on what does it actually mean. Let's relate it to something that actually makes sense, so that at any day we have the clear difference between element and atom. So join us for the next video as we move on and build our concept in chemistry. Thank you very much.
Do not miss the next concepts. Why don't you subscribe to keep notified of new videos and concepts?